Down by the river, dark skies, dark water, eager to get going, to release for a moment. My walls become thicker, my tears they flow quicker at the thought that you'd do that, sacrifice the one thing you have. So if you'd please reconsider, this won't make anything better. You're worth more than that. You're too important to me for that. I don't want to be there, but I can't leave you alone because I'm so scared. There are other people in this bayou, and they will take it from you. You don't need it. You don't need it. You can't reseal it. Can't reseal it. Dark skies, dark water, bodies uncovered. Free mind, free figure, all lies, my lover. If you ever choose to do it, I would trust that you would tell me. I promise I won't lose it. I want to keep this shoreline healthy. Don't think you're keeping things better by keeping it from me. It's not telling me that would make it worse. We can work it out, understand both sides, no matter how much it may hurt. So when you're thinking this is what you want to be, I'll remind you of your worth to me. And if and when you're drifting through the tides, I'll solemnly wait and hope you're all right. I'll be watching, eyes closed, from the beach's dry sand. But before you do, please just remember, I hope you understand. When you're wanting some comfort, strength, and freedom in your form, just come a little closer, and I will make you feel good. You don't need it. You don't need it. You can't reseal it. Can't reseal it. Dark skies, dark water, bodies uncovered. Free mind, free figure, all lies, my lover. Hello and welcome. My name is Jaden, or Arranging the Pieces, and that poem you just heard is an original poem from my book called Maybe Someday, which is a collection of poetry that I wrote when I was 17 and 8 years old, and was my first real attempt to try to overcome a lot of the things I was struggling with, both internally and externally, as I transitioned from my teenage life into adulthood at the end of my high school time. So the poetry in this book deals with a lot of the struggles I had at that time and really trying to express how I felt in these darker sides of me so then I can begin to work through them and then get to a place later on where I wrote my second book called I Love Him at Last, which continues on from there. As I was saying, I then wrote my second book called I Love Him at Last, which continues on from the first one and is still me working through a lot of things, but in a much more hopeful way. And this first book was the beginning of that journey to hope. So this poem that you just heard called Dark Skies, Dark Water was one that I specifically wrote sort of in relation to this relationship that I had at the time that I've talked about in a few of these previous videos, because for me this was my first ever real relationship, and to be honest, I have a lot of regrets for my actions and all sorts of stuff during that time, because I just feel I made a lot of mistakes, and since I was kind of in this dark place with myself, it was hard for me to really be in a good place within a relationship. So this poem at its core is kind of sort of exposing how I was a bit over controlling in the relationship and didn't really allow her the freedom that she deserved. And even at the time, I sort of recognized this. And of course, I wrote this poem at that time, kind of recognizing that. But despite that, it wasn't so easy for me at the time to just let go and truly let her have that freedom. I am someone who, since I was a kid, really struggled with the idea of control and felt like I had to always have control over everything and everyone and everything that affected me in any possible way. And when I didn't, it like completely overwhelmed me, and I didn't know what to do if I didn't have full control and things weren't how I wanted them to be exactly. But through having this relationship and through writing this poem and things that continued to come on after that, I sort of began that journey toward letting that go a bit more and not always having to have full control over everyone around me and every situation that I'm in. There really is like a beauty to letting people just be fully and authentically themselves without any limits and without control. And I think that it's kind of funny that this poem happened to come up at this time in this journey we're on, because my last video was this short story that I just recently wrote. called Sea Heart, which I think kind of deals with some of these similar concepts here. And I think sort of subconsciously when I was writing the story, I was thinking back on that teenage me and that relationship. And in that story, the main character is a 17-year-old who meets this girl who really intrigues him, and he's like really interested in her and wants to pursue a relationship and everything, but kind of goes about it in not quite the right ways initially. But then he starts to learn a bit more about her and get really curious. And without giving too many spoilers, he does kind of learn these lessons as I did, to allow her to just freely be herself and not have that overbearing control over her, and just let her be free, let her be herself, let her do whatever she wants to do. And as the last line in that story says, that's where true beauty, true love is found, where it's allowed to just be. And I think that really connects with this poem as well. But yeah, that's about all I have to say about this poem. Of course, as always, if you had any thoughts on anything I said or the poem in general, you are always welcome to share that in the comments, and I look forward to seeing what you have to say. And of course, also, if you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe if you want to help support the channel at all, and stick around for any future videos and catch us on the rest of this journey through my poetry and my other writing and art I do. I would love to have you here. But yeah, anyway, thank you very much for watching. And as always, remember, we're all broken and we're just arranging the pieces. Thank you.